which is about 7 chapters. We do give you lunch, and I do give you breaks. I always joke this class is death by PowerPoint, so I make sure we get a lot of up. We get up and get moving, and then Sunday you test from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So you'll come in at 1. We'll do about an hour review, and then you test. So that hopefully won't interfere with anybody's morning plans on Sundays, and they can kind of be a little bit more relaxed going into that exam.
Yeah, without a doubt, I'm sure people are going to be much more confident going into that exam after a day's worth of instruction. And you said death by PowerPoint. You're going to have to get through the PowerPoints. I'm sure they're all very, very informative. But yes, okay. So very important there that you show up. You must show up to the informational day, though, correct?
Yes. Yep. So according to our law, you actually have to have 8 hours of instruction. So we make sure that you cover everything. I do other activities, like we actually do the hands-on practice hand washing, and I put fake germs on your hands, and you actually wash them off, and I put you under a black light. So it also gives you an idea of where you're missing when you wash your hands. But we cover foodborne illnesses, and we talk about cooking and storage, employee health and hygiene. Basically everything you need to know in order to be able to pass this test. So that's the big thing. We want to make sure you have this information, you're able to apply it, and then you're able to successfully pass the exam.
That sounds good. And where is this located in Taylorville?
Yeah, so this will be at the Christian County Extension Office. Again, it'll probably be in our small conference room, so it's a little bit more intimate. We're not in a big room, so it's perfect. We'll have, usually I cap this class at about 10 to 15, just keep it so it's not so many people in there, and then you're a little bit more comfortable asking questions as we go.
Sure.
So yeah, this will be at the Extension Office on October 14th and 15th, which is a Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, so it'll be a great class.
It sounds like it's going to be a great class. How do you make fake germs?
So I have something we use, and we usually use it in elementary schools, but I love doing it with adults. It's like a little lotion they put on their hands, and I tell them after they put that on, if they touch anything, it comes up white. Okay. So you can imagine with kids, I have like handprints on their faces and everything like that, but it's how germs are spread. Yeah. So it's a good reminder of how easy germs get from one place to the next.
Wow. Okay. So a proper hand washing will eliminate all of that, and you shine the black light over. That's very funny. A nice portion to add to it. People can know how to wash their hands. There is a proper way to do that. So that is that's the Certified Food Protection Managers class on October 14th and 15th, 9 to 3 on that first Saturday. And then coming back on that Sunday, you can kind of finish up your exam and head out for the day.
Yeah, yep. Once you're done with the exam, I say you're done with me. So I'm like, I always joke, like, I hope you don't have to see me again for another 5 years. But on occasion, we do have occasionally people fail, and that's okay. What they do is they just call our office, and we schedule a time and date to retest. And they don't have to retake the class; they just have to retake the exam.
Oh, great! Even less pressure on the person there. You can retake that test, maybe get a little bit more instruction and retake that test. Okay. We got all of the information for the Certified Food Manager class coming to Taylorville here. That'll be at the Extension Office, Christian County Extension Office here in Taylorville. So we're very excited for that. Thank you so much for letting us know about that, Ms. Peterson. What else do we got? There's another program coming down the way here. We still got a little bit of time for it, but I love the name of it, Preparing Food Under Pressure. Tell me about it.
Yes, I'm always thrilled. It's one of my favorite classes I teach, and we do it about a couple times a year, but it's talking about using those electric pressure cookers. So this is really fun. We actually get into, I always start the class with how many have one. I've never taken it out of the box, but I have many, many different varieties, and we go through kind of the food safety of it, how to use it, different ways to use it. My favorite thing to make in it, why I teach it in the fall, is soup. Because it's a great way to make soups without adding salt. And our really focus there is lowering sodium, because that's one of our highest risk factors is high blood pressure for heart disease. So we really get into that side of it, the nutrition side as well. But the fun part is it's hands-on. We're doing this at the hospital again with Taylorville Memorial, and you'll get to practice making a bunch of different recipes and taste testing. So you'll get to hear from other people who have these pressure cookers as well, and get some recipes. And yeah, it'll be a great time. That's November 14th from 5 to 7.
Awesome. So it's gonna be a full day of taste testing and learning, and just learning how to use your pressure cooker for one. And also there's this nutritional benefit to this class where you're cooking out a lot of the sodium, I think it is, you said?
Yeah, yep. So we're not adding it, and that's the best part, because most soups, when you buy them in the grocery store, if you read the labels, they're usually really high in sodium, and that's something we're trying to cut down on. So these recipes, because everything is cooked without it getting out into the air, so all the flavors in there are much more intensified, so you don't miss that salt like you normally would, because salt is an adapted taste, so you can learn to unlike salt. It's just, that's why I tell people, don't go cold turkey, because you will miss salt if you cut all of it out.
That is interesting. It's an interesting point right there. There is a bit of an addictive aspect there to foods and the way they taste. You can wean yourself off of salt, though.
Yes, you can. Yep, your tongue, you can adapt to it. So that's one thing with people who eat a lot of salty foods. I say cut down slowly when you do it, so that way, especially if you use electric pressure cooker, you're not going to miss salt because you're going to have all these other flavors coming at you, and you're not thinking this is missing something, which you sometimes do with a lot of recipes when you start preparing them without salt.
Yeah, that really cool that the flavor's being kept in by the pressure cooker right there. And I'm not quite sure of all the science that goes into that, but I'll take your word for it. That sounds like people won't be missing an easier way to wean yourself off of salt there. Wow. Okay. So, and yes, soups can be a huge problem for people that are low sodium folks, because yes, they can be very, very high in sodium. But we can move right on to our next point there. We're talking a little bit about diabetes. You got some cool things to offer to people that need some information.
Yeah, so we're really thrilled about this. We just started this series. It's called Diabetes 101, and it's really getting into really giving the basic education on diabetes, or people who have it and just aren't sure how to manage it with what they're eating. And that's really our focus. This is a webinar series, so you can log in and join us. We're doing this for almost 6 weeks. So we started yesterday. It's every Wednesday at noon. Goes noon to 1. We joke it's kind of like a lunch and learn. So if you want to turn it on during your lunch hour, it's a great option. The one really unique factor about all these webinars is we do a food demonstration with it. So yesterday I actually did the food demonstration, and we made a white bean and chicken salad using rotisserie chicken. And we talk about ways we cut down a little bit on those carbohydrates and upping that fiber while making sure we're getting plenty of fruits and vegetables in there as well. So, and you can still register, even though we've had our first one. You can register for all of the other ones coming up on October 11th, October 18th, October 25th, November 1st, November 8th. And we go through different things each time. So next week's actually going to be talking about carbohydrates.
Awesome. All right. So these are live webinars. We talked about a little bit about these before. You have to register to get into them live, right?
Yep. And the registration, if you go to go.illinois.edu/diabetes101 registration, you'll find it. Or, of course, you can always call one of our extension office and say, hey, I want to register for that diabetes webinar, and we'll get you registered. And then they'll email you a link to be able to join it via Zoom. So this is all on an online platform. We do walk through kind of the basics of how to use Zoom. So if you're not comfortable with it, that's okay. We'll happily walk you through it. And our first group, we had about 50 people. So yes, we would love for you to listen. And again, if you can't make one and you register for it, you will get sent a link with the recording of it later.
Yeah, that was my next question there. There's a recorded version there. 50 people is a really great turnout for that first webinar. Was that your first webinar?
Yeah,
Wow.
For this series it was, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, again, this isn't just for people who have diabetes. This could be for caregivers. This could be for if you have a family member with it. It's good just to get the basics of it.
That is really awesome. You named off the go.illinois site already. Can you lay it out there one more time for our listeners?
Yep, no problem. It's go.illinois.edu and then /diabetes101 with the numbers registration.
Awesome. And these come at perfect times in the day. And about that lunchtime, you can sit down, have your lunch while, learning just a little bit. When is the next one set for?
Yeah, so the next one's actually going to be, it's called Not All Carbohydrates Are Created Equal, and that'll be October 11th at noon. And that one I'm moderating, but I've got 2 other nutrition educators who are going to be doing kind of the lesson part as well as the cooking demonstration. So again, and you get a recipe with every one of these classes. So like
Awesome.
I said, we did the white bean salad first, and then she'll be doing something different next week.
Very cool. Not all carbs are treated the same. Is that what it is? That seems seems
so
very
talk
interesting.
about the different types of carbohydrates.
All right. Yeah, I did not even know there are multiple types, so I have to tune in to that webinar, and you can too. All the listeners can as well. Get a little bit more informed out there. We're going to take our first short little break here. Sitting down with Lisa Peterson right now. She's a nutrition and wellness educator with the University of Illinois Extension. My name is Tim Zalabak. You are listening to the WTIM, your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
Here's another lifestyle medicine message from Dr. Pavi Gill at Springfield Clinic, Taylorville.
We understand everyone's journey is different. That's why we approach bariatric weight loss with comprehensive and compassionate care. We offer surgical and non-surgical solutions, and we are here to help you find the right option.
Book your lifestyle medicine appointment with Dr. Gill by calling Springfield Clinic, Taylorville, and improve your quality of life.
If you're looking for the latest in local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and Sundays at 7 a.m. here on WTIM. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed Central Illinois fishing reports from professional guides. We'll swap stories with local celebrity sportsmen, and I'll invite you to share your favorite stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with Jared White every weekend on all WTIM platforms and on demand at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana, the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau, and Locked and Loaded in Pana.
Rolling Meadows Senior Living in Taylorville invites you to make their home your home. Become part of the Rolling Meadows family. Applications for residency are now being accepted. Rolling Meadows offers seniors 62 and older a smoke-free facility with round-the-clock maintenance, controlled access, large kitchens with full-size appliances, on-site laundry facilities, complimentary Wi-Fi in common areas, and more. Call 217-287-2450 to schedule an appointment. Rolling Meadows is sponsored by Lutheran Social Services of Illinois and funded through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and Federal Home Bank of Chicago. Rolling Meadows is an equal housing opportunity provider.
This is Randall J. Miller, president of the Miller Media Group. We're proud to bring you another Business of the Month spotlight to recognize an area business for their contributions to their town's employment and community service.
The Miller Media Group has named Taylorville Home Source Design Center on East Park as its Business of the Month. Owner Rick White, a Taylorville native, came back to town after living in Florida for many years. He and wife Kathy opened Taylorville Home Source on West Spresser almost 19 years ago. They moved to a larger location just under 3 years ago, offering Taylorville and South Central Illinois a greatly expanded selection of in-stock product. They also do in-house design for every customer.
We at the Miller Media Group take this time to recognize this local business as our Business of the Month. And we hope you'll use this business and other local businesses that keep our economy going every day. Spending dollars local makes sense.
CNB Bank and Trust has been helping open doors for Central Illinois farmers since 1854. Find out why they're among Illinois' top ag lenders by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Bob Ridings of the Bob Ridings family of dealerships. See our huge inventory of about 2,000 vehicles by clicking on our ad at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. My name is Tim Zalabak, sitting down with Lisa Peterson of the University of Illinois Extension. She is a nutrition and wellness educator. We thank her for coming in, and we thank our live stream sponsors, People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better at Landmark. Ms. Peterson, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So let's get into some cool fall topics here, because it's a big month for apples, big month for pumpkins. Let's start with apples. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so apples is a great time of year, especially since it's in season. We always encourage people to eat in season and eat local. Head to those orchards, trying to get all the good, great apples out there. And let's not forget the state apple of Illinois, if you can find it, is the Gold Rush apple, which is a nice, like, tangy type of apple. But that's a really great one. And, of course, as a nutrition educator, I can't go without talking about the nutrition of an apple. Apples are I always think that's a great way if you need a snack. It's a healthy snack to go to. It's about 20%. A large apple is about 20% of your needs for dietary fiber. It's got a good amount of vitamin C in it. It's got potassium in it. And the nice thing, too, again, we talked about heart health earlier. It's cholesterol, sodium, and fat-free. The one thing I do encourage people to watch for with an apple is don't completely get rid of the peel. Because I know a lot of people don't like the peel of an apple, but half of your fiber lives in the apple, about 2/3 of those antioxidants, which will help keep you well, and half your vitamin C. So definitely eat the peel of that apple.
Yeah, the skinning the apple usually is fun to think of in theory, but wow, we're learning now that a lot of the nutrients live within the skin of the apple. Okay, wow. So thank you for that, Ms. Peterson. I had a quick question. Is there any nutritional differences between the different types of apples? Like, I love Honey Crisp apples. They're so good. Are they less healthy for me, even though they're so good?
Sure, and that's been come up before, like what's the difference between them. And comparing apple to apple, they're very, very similar. They're like red versus green. The fiber, the vitamin C are really pretty consistent. Green varieties tend to be a little bit lower in calories, actually about 10% lower in carbohydrates. But red, however, are really higher in something called beta-carotene, which again is a great antioxidant. And they presumably it's because of the color, because of the brightness of the color. But yeah, Honeycrisp were actually manufactured in Minnesota.
Wow.
So that is our true apple up there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the favorite apple used to be Red Delicious, and it was taken over by the Gala apple now. So Gala apples are the most popular apples in the United States.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Gal is the very generic tasting apple, in to my taste buds at least. What is that? Why is that? Do they just take better to the Midwestern soil? Is that just the most efficient growing crop?
I'm not sure why. I just thought it was interesting because we do an activity in a couple of my classes where I have you taste them with the skin and without the skin. Like you look at them, say which one's the prettiest, and you taste it without the skin, trying to figure out which one's the best. And Red Delicious typically is not a great apple for cooking with. We say, and honestly, snacking, it isn't the most tasty apple. Of course, to each his own, but it's the most popular. We think it's because it's most generic. That's why it was for so long. And it is the prettiest. You look at a Red Delicious apple, that's a beautiful apple. Like it's a bright red color, but flavor-wise and working with it, baking with it isn't really quite as effective as everything else.
Sure. Yeah. You got any fun fall recipes involving apples for us?
Yeah, so the nice thing about apples is you can kind of throw it in different things. I mean, we talk a lot about during this season ways to store them because you always buy them in bushels or pecks or things like that. So there's certain apples that are better for baking. So like Rayburn, Fuji, Golden Delicious, Granny Smith. I'm thinking of like pies and things like that. Sauces, a lot of those Golden Delicious, Granny Smith. Granny Smith almost fit in every category. They're great for baking, making salads with them, for sauces. They kind of fall in everything. Honeycrisp are another big good one for sauces. Jonah Gold. Apple butters, we got a lot of people making those. I'm actually doing a slow cooker class coming up here, and we'll be making apple butter, or I'll have it already made there. And that's a really easy thing to do. So it'll be really fun. We talk a lot about apples, but yeah, the Rome apples and the Red Delicious are not great for preservation.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Learning a lot of things about apples today. There's many things to know. You warned me that you could go all day about apples, and that's awesome.
I know. I love
Apple butter sounds pretty special right there, and I don't even know if I've heard that term, apple butter. How do you go about making that?
Apple butter, usually it's breaking it down.
Okay.
So you break it down usually with, I think it's like sugar. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a pretty simple process.
Sure.
You put them in a slow cooker. There's different ways to do it. When I have classes with apples, we'll make applesauce, which you do in a pressure. You can do in a pressure cooker.
Huh.
So you peel them, you throw them in there with some usually apple cider or apple juice and a little bit of lemon juice to prevent that browning, and you make applesauce in less than a half hour.
Wow.
So that's kind of a cool process to do with apples. But yeah, canning apples, we got a lot of people making pie filling. And I always remind people this time of year, if you're making pie filling and you're canning it, you have to use something called clear gel, which is different. It works like cornstarch, but clear gel is what you have to use for canning apple pie filling. So that's something to watch out for to make sure you're not buying cornstarch, you're not buying sure gel for it. It's called clear gel. And again, it's the thing that makes the thickener, but it's the only one that can withstand when you're canning to use it. So again, that's specifically for canning pie filling. So it's that time of year.
Yeah, no, definitely an important time to get that out there as people are definitely getting their fall pies ready to go. Ms. Peterson, we are already out of time. This time flew by, but I really appreciate you for sitting down, getting us all informed today.
Yeah, no problem. And always call our office for looking for recipes or food preservation questions.
Perfect. Ms. Peterson, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. That's Lisa Peterson with the University of Illinois Extension Office. She is a nutrition and wellness educator. My name's Tim Zalabak. You are listening to the WTIM Morning Show.
Your information station, WTIM.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. President